Wi-Fi Sheep would like to say a huge thank you to all of you that kindly support us. Help us continue to bring new videos like this. Join patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep from just $1 a month. Hi everyone, how you doing? And a very warm welcome back to youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep with me, Tom. Now, in this video, this is a bit of a pick-up video to try and get sorted some of the exhibits for the up-and-coming Cambridge Retro Computer Festival 2024. Quick update on that. Here is the Cambridge website, and I just want to bring your attention now till Saturday the 9th of November. It is now fully booked out across all ticket ranges. You know how I've been saying for the past few months now, if you intend to come, please book tickets ahead of time. Wasn't lying, as you can see, Saturday the 9th of November, tickets now fully booked. What I will just say is it's been fantastic, those of you that have reached out to me, be it channel fans, Patreon backers, YouTube channel members, whoever. Those of you that said, yes, you know, we're going to come to the show for the first time. And those of you that said you're coming to the show and it's your first ever computer show that you're going to come and visit. So I honestly hope you're going to have a fantastic weekend. It's going to be a busy one, especially for us exhibiting. As I've said all along, I intend to be there. I'm going to be there both days. I'm going to be there on the exhibition floor with my exhibits, the content you've seen in the Going GUI series. So, you know, the machines you've seen here on the channel, you'll be able to sort of play with, and we can chat about stuff, hopefully, if we get time. So, yeah, should be a really fantastic weekend. Anyway, on to today's video, and to make it a fantastic weekend, I need to sort out some gremlins with a few of the machines that haven't featured in the Going GUI series, which is all edited, so it all looks like it's running perfectly. The truth is, it's not. And one of the big problems I've got at the moment is this. Back on the bench is the C64 from Metro Games Limited. Release date 2019. It's a all-in-one Commodore 64 copy clone type thing. It's not hardware compatible. It's an ARM board inside. It's kind of like a Raspberry Pi. It's a sort of off-brand Raspberry Pi type setup. It's a custom PCB, all-winner ARM architecture. Runs a Linux kernel, and then it runs the Vice 64 emulator on top, and then it runs a custom sort of graphical user shell. So it's not hardware compatible with C64. Software compatible seems to be okay, and yeah, as a games box and an interesting type on, it's interesting. This one, obviously being a full-size one, has the full working keyboard. But reliability of this unit has been, quite frankly, terrible. And utterly disappointing, considering I haven't used this machine that much. I estimate, if it's had more than 200 hours runtime, I would be amazed, I've got to be honest with you. And mine has developed a really annoying fault. So, you take a power supply, and I'm using an unofficial Raspberry Pi 2 power supply, bought from the Pi Hut for use with Raspberry Pi 2s. Okay, it's 5 volts, it should be more than sufficient. 2 amps, by the way. And I plug in now. If I power on, notice how we don't get anything. So if I now wiggle the power supply and power on, now we get something. I go to capture. There you go, it boots. And mine set up should go straight through to, there we are, the Commodore 64 boot screen. Now, if I just whittle the power supply at all, there you go, it's gone. And now it's back on again. And it's gone. So, I was always getting an intermittent fault with this machine. I think it was like that from new, or developed shortly after. It's very disappointing for a unit of this age to be having that sort of fault. Basically what it is as the machine heats up and gets warmer, it's obviously the solder is getting loose, or it's got a dry joint or something on the PCB, and the power is completely intermittent, and that's no good for this unit that's got to run our GEOS or GEOS demo all day for 2 days over the entire weekend. So we really do need to try and get this machine sorted the best we can. So I honestly think we need to take a look inside and do an evaluation of what we're going to do. Right, so turn the unit upside down. That, by the way, is the serial number of mine, 1959. So it's an earlier one, not the earliest, but 2019. To get inside, it's way out of warranty now. So basically, the issues with it are mine and mine alone. 3 screws down the bottom here. Just make sure we put those to the side safely. Put them up there out of the way. Right, so it should be a unit kind of clip hinges like that. There you go, and it releases. The keyboard, and there's a controller for the keyboard, is in the top here, and then you have basically 2 PCBs, and the rest of this is, believe it or not, completely empty. So it's full size and it's just empty space. This is the main board processor, and then this is the daughter board, which has the power button and USB ports on. Now what I need to do is just disconnect ports up like that, and that allows us to separate the top from the bottom of the unit. Let's just flip this around. Yeah, I think actually it's annoying it's taken the casing off. Never mind, doesn't matter, that's out. So power, basically power USB. It's quite simple inside. And we'll take this board out. Now, one of the things that kind of annoyed me with this design, and they've changed this with later things, so I believe with the Amiga, I've never checked inside the Amiga unit, but also the A400 Mini, the Atari A400 Mini, better built units. The PCB is mounted the correct way up. In this unit, this is actually the bottom of the PCB. It's all mounted upside down, which I gotta be honest with you is a bit annoying. And also other manufacturers, especially with things like Raspberry Pi or the clone boards, tell you really not to operate them upside down. So if I take this board off, this is basically the entire C64 board. So there is a heat sink, but everything is upside down. So if it's like that and this chip warms up, it's not rising off the board, it's literally just cooking itself. And so hence the board heats up. The solder, if it's not very good, the solder mask then gets loose or weak or warm, and that then can induce failures. So the failure I think we've got relates to the power, which is intermittent on the USB. It's interesting how it looks like they had provision potentially. You can actually see 2 USBs here. It looks like they may have actually had provision here for possibly a barrel or a push button or something. This board may have been used in something else, or was designed for something else. Okay, so I was just trying to look at the board under the magnifying glass and see if I can do that on camera. There we are. And they're just these pins here, tiny little surface mount pins on the power USB connector. Just don't seem to have an awful lot of solder to them. If I turn the board back over the other side, I just want to show you this. So basically they should be, these pins here are used for anchoring the component because it's under a lot of stress, and there's barely any solder on some of these. So what I want to do, because I'm convinced that's the problem, is I just want to apply a little bit of heat, not solder, just heat with the magnifying glass, just see if we can reflow these traces without bridging them. And then what I'll do is I'm going to apply some solder onto the anchor points on the underside. So what I've got, soldering iron. It always appears a bit, I don't know why, it always does this weird blue colour on camera. Wet sponge, and I'm just cleaning up. Basically, my soldering iron has had a lot of abuse, put it that way, so I'm just cleaning up the end there. And I'm going to very carefully just try and apply just a little bit of heat. Just to reflow those connectors. And then underneath, this is where I will apply some flux. The reason I didn't apply flux on top is I just wanted to reflow the existing material. I didn't want it to bridge together. So I'm just going to put flux. This is alcohol-based flux, so it doesn't need to be cleaned. Put some alcohol-based flux on. And I'm just going to apply a little bit more solder. And hopefully okay. Right, so should be able to just put the USB back in. 5 volts power. I'm trying to remember, can this power on without the actual button? That's a good question. Hang on. Yeah, we might have to put this back in the case, actually. Thinking about it, we might have to put this back in the case. So let's do that next. Now, I'm assuming this board isn't clever enough to realise if it hasn't got its keyboard attached. So I'm hoping basically that's enough. So let's see if we're at home. Ah, there we go. Right, so it's going to move the power cable around. Oh, no, it's failed again. Oh, that hasn't fixed it. There we are, it's done a restart. Okay, so we're clearly not quite there yet. So what I'll do is, just to save time on the video, I'm going to take this apart. I'll try doing reflowing again, put it back together, and we'll try again for another test. Okay, in true Wi-Fi sheep spirit, I think I've made it worse. So I'm still getting the intermittent fault. I've tried reheating, resoldering this, and now it doesn't work at all. And I was getting no power through the board. I just hooked the top back in so I can see the power light. What I have tried from an iPhone charger was going through the full-size USB socket, which is here, and I've gone USB to USB. Unfortunately, the only cable I've got that's A to A was actually being used for the capture card. So at the moment, the capture card is completely off, doesn't work. But if I power up, you can see the power light does come on, and it's going through this cable. So there, I'm thinking I'm going to need to bodge something very quickly, because I don't think I'm going to get this particular socket here to work, and that is extremely annoying. Right, so we need a solution. So I'm just sort of thinking the best way we could actually do this. Potentially what we could do is either basically mount another USB or micro USB socket somewhere else in the machine and then just tap in. Or I've got these which were taken off old USB hubs, which are just USB A to blank ends. We only really need the voltage because we're not doing data, so we just need the voltage cables. So I'm wondering if it might just be simpler. Plug that in there, and then we kind of attach to the back of here. And I have a few of these that are new. We just make a little adapter for the moment. Yeah, so I've got a couple here. Just break one off. And we'll make an adapter. And then we can feed our power supply through. And it should be reliable enough for the show. And then we can come back and think of a slightly better, more elegant solution after the event in question. Right, so the board's back in. And this is the solution I've created. So USB, get this the right way around, in there. And micro USB just soldered. You can see there voltage and ground. And that will go to the power transformer. I accept this is not a particularly neat way of doing it. It's a quick way of doing it that hopefully will give us enough reliability. Just trying to find my power transformer. There we are. It'll give us enough reliability to make the unit work. I put the capture card back in, so hopefully you'll be able to see what I see. Just check that's working. Hopefully that's working. Now, hopefully it doesn't all short out and I haven't just put 5 volts onto ground rail. I shouldn't have. It should be the correct way around. He says, being a bit paranoid, and I don't want to fry the unit because you can do a lot of damage. Let me just check with the continuity before we do any further that ground is where ground should be. Okay, so that's ground there. Yes. Okay, that's the correct way around. All right. Power up, button on, assuming our capture card is working. There we go. So it is now live, that's now live and working. And if I twiggle around, that seems to be fine. One thing we will need to do is just reattach everything properly, just to make sure the keyboard's working and everything's happy. And if it is, that will do. As a slightly crude solution, I may just get some black tape. There was some tape around. Here we are. Electrical tape, just to tape that up. I could have heat shrinked it, really. Should have heat shrinked it. But yeah, that should do all right as a solution. Right then, moment of truth. So here is my adapter. Just put a bit of tape on the end. It's not great, but it'll do the job. So this needs to go in, and remember it's upside down like that. That will then connect up to my Raspberry Pi power supply like that. Power up, power on, light comes on. C64 boots, basic interpreter, keyboard, keyboard appears fine. Okay, so we've got a solution that works. This should be okay for the show. It's not ideal, and don't get me wrong, I'm not happy right now, but it's up and working. I am beginning to seriously think that maybe we need a different board in here, something that can run C64 emulation perhaps a little bit better than the hardware provided. Remember, we pulled apart the original C64 Mini. Am I about to pull apart the C64 Maxi? Quite possibly. Anyway, this is now ready for the show with its emergency adapter. If you're having the same problem, try what I've just done. It does seem to possibly fix it. Or just try powering through one of the main USB-A sockets. That might actually work. If it powers up, you know what's happened. It's the same as what's happened with mine. Just a reminder, it's now the 9th and 10th of November 2024. It's the Retro Computer Festival in Cambridge, England. Really looking forward to seeing you. If you haven't done so already, please do consider liking and subscribing, or becoming one of the most amazing people in the world and joining me and support the channel on Patreon. Details are on screen now. It's patreon.com/Wi-Fi Sheep, or alternatively right here on YouTube. You can become a YouTube channel member. Details are on screen now. Thank you to all the wonderful people that continue to support me month in and month out here on the channel. Their names are going to appear on the screen next. Just leaves me to say thanks once again for your company, and I'll see you real soon right here on the channel. Until next time, bye for now.